4, 3, 2.
Welcome to Westchester Jewish Community Services. As a leading agency in providing a comprehensive spectrum of human services, we have been helping people since 1943. We serve all people in Westchester County, regardless of age, income, or ethnicity. We provide a wide variety of essential and dynamic services that make a difference in people's lives. Children, teens, adults, and senior citizens are served by our network of programs located throughout the county. When people come to us for assistance, they become part of the WJCS family. Our highly trained and skilled staff focus on you and your family and are committed to becoming your partner in finding solutions. For more than half a century, we have been connecting people to services that help them overcome mental, physical, or emotional challenges. WJCS is here in your community when you need us.
Welcome to the Ways We Care of Westchester Jewish Community Services. I'm Dale Wang, Director of Community Relations. WJCS is funded by government grants, private foundations, individuals and corporations, UJA Federation, and United Way. People with developmental disabilities live dramatically different lives today than they did 25 years ago. Today, these individuals are likely to reside in community-based homes. They hold jobs or attend work readiness programs, and they enjoy a wide array of social activities. There is a much broader recognition and respect for the abilities of people who may have special needs and their sensitivities to life situations. Tonight, we will speak with WJCS professionals and consumers who have adapted unique services that both address the needs of people with developmental disabilities and help them to use their skills to help others. I'd like to introduce to you Ellen Laminoff, who is Coordinator of Nursing Services for our Community Residential Care Division.
Yes.
Welcome, Ellen.
Thank you.
Heidi Weiss, who is a social worker with the Pathways to Care program. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you.
And Josephine Cummings, who is resident manager at Bryant House, one of our homes for people with developmental disabilities. Welcome, Josephine.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get started. As I said at the beginning, I think life has changed dramatically for people with developmental disabilities, and WJCS operates group residences that house nearly 90 individuals. These people have been getting older, and that certainly must be offering some challenges for all of you and all of us. Ellen, can you talk a little bit about what kinds of special challenges have arisen as people who are mentally retarded and developmentally disabled go into their 50s, 60s, 80s in some of our homes?
Absolutely. Our age range for all of our consumers range anywhere from about the youngest being approximately 24, and we have residents who are in their 90s. And people with developmental disabilities, of course, are the same as we are in terms of we are all getting, as our generation, baby boomers, we're all getting older. Now we have a whole cadre of people who, years ago, people did not live as long. They had physical disabilities that sometimes made them die at an earlier age than the rest of the population. However, that has really changed with excellent medical care, with excellent attention and living a full life, and all medications, the same as we are. They're living very productive, active lives well into their older age. However, just like we do, sometimes they get sick, they get the exact same diseases, cancer, heart disease, all the diseases that are so common with us, they get as well. And we have a responsibility to make sure they're taken care of through the entire lifespan, so that this is a new field because they didn't used to live to be this age. So it's very challenging, and we need to provide what they need in their home And just like we would like to get care in our home, they would like to get care in their home.
So as the general population is dealing with issues of an aging population and the graying of America, I understand that OMRDD, which is the Office of Mental Retardation and Developmental Disabilities, has also been encouraging aging in place, that they want people to grow old in the homes that have become their families.
Definitely.
And so what is going on to enable us to help people live more comfortably and to address some of the issues of end of life?
It's a great question. OMRDD has been very much they've been advocating very strongly for this, and we believe in it as well. And what we've done is even day programs, people have modified homes so that there aren't steps, so people can be on one level. Day programs have made modifications in their program to address needs of the more elderly population. And there are many other programs, adult day programs in the community have embraced our consumers. And many of them go to community-based day programs that are for older adults. However, when there's illness and things where they just can't get out anymore, frailty starts to happen, then we need to really address their needs at home. And we've undertaken major trainings for our staff so that they learn the skills they need to take care of someone who needs assistance with all kinds of activities of daily living, dressing, toileting, walking, standing, sitting, transferring, turning. They need assistance with all of that, feeding. And so we train our staff to be able to do all those skills. When it comes down to a point where we feel that the person's life could be drawing to a close, perhaps there's a terminal illness or just a general decline, then we have to think about things like palliative care, where we would treat any pain and any symptoms in a way to make sure that the person is comfortable, even if they're not receiving any active treatment for a disease. We do use local hospices. We have called in local hospice programs. They've come into our homes, they have worked with our staff, they have worked with our consumers, and it's been an incredible partnership.
Let me just stop you, because before we talk about that, I want to talk about the partnership that happened between our divisions here, and how we were looking at addressing this issue in a interdivisional way. Heidi, Pathways to Care is part of our end-of-life care program and part of our clinical services, and I think as a result of our think tank, where we try to encourage interdivisional mind thinking about new ways to do things. How did you get involved with the group homes?
Interestingly, a call came in because there had been a series of incidents at the group homes, some acting out behaviors, some behavior that was attributed to changes in the consumer's family's lives, deaths, illnesses, and we were asked, because that's part of what Pathways to Care does, is to see how we can help address some of these issues. There was a psych intern in the clinic at the time who had been working in the group homes, and he and I paired up and developed bereavement groups for some of the residents of the group homes so that they had an arena just for them to begin to deal with understanding these changes in their behavior and perhaps where it comes from, and tapping into some of those feelings that were at the root of the expressions of these behaviors. Mm-hmm. And from those bereavement groups, we realized perhaps it would even be beneficial to get in a little bit earlier and start with what's called anticipatory grief groups, helping them identify that these kinds of situations are down the road in their lives, and how can we prepare them for some of these things, and how can we help them understand that some of the feelings that they're feeling can be expressed in ways that will be beneficial.
Okay, so this came about, you started these bereavement groups, and I understand that then the New York State Association for Retarded Citizens.
Timing is everything.
Right,
Yes, that's right.
picked up on the idea, or
Yes,
you know,
and-
just seemed to be an idea whose time had come.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about these
I think
workshops in the program.
Ellen was the one who brought it to my attention that there was this Train the Trainer program that was being offered for people who work with the professionals who work with the developmentally disabled, and she was kind enough to hook me in with her, and we took this training that was just remarkable.
Talk a little bit about what was involved. You know, I think when you think about the range of issues, there are certain issues, but what does it take to adapt these to a population that may have less limited cognition
Right.
and limited ability to express their concerns?
I think recognizing that there are limitations to how you say things and what you say and how they will be received and processed, because the developmentally disabled are compromised in their cognitive abilities. We were trained to deliver certain information, not just verbally, but perhaps visually. There were tools that we use in bereavement groups and in the training with the staff that help the developmentally disabled find a way to express themselves by using pictures, by using color, art, we even deal with visualization, just to find the alternative ways of expressing, because the words aren't always there, despite the fact that all the emotions exist and the feelings are real. It's our responsibility to help tap into what works to help them be able to express these things, because they are compromised. And then the issues of communication, as well as cognition.
So your first step, the Train the Trainers, was really to get some of our staff people to be able to teach others.
Yes.
in the division. And then you sort of moved out to work with the direct care workers and with some of the house managers. Now, Josephine, your population at Bryant House is an aging population,
Yes, it
probably
is.
among the oldest
Yes,
of our
it is.
consumers. Can you explain a little bit about some of the issues that came up over the recent years, which brought up the need for these types of services?
Well, we have a lot of medical issues. Bryant House is a medically inclined house, and we deal with various different types of medical issues. And as our population ages, we are faced with death and dying, which is at times can be very difficult to deal with within the group homes, among our staffs and among our consumers. And WJCS has provided programs for staff and management to attend to help us to deal with these issues as they arrive in the group home. We have issues such as consumers who are too medically frail to attend programs out of the group home. And we have in Bryant House, we have an in-house day treatment program that caters to the need of these consumers who aren't able to go out to community programs. And this program is staffed, you know, with staff members who are trained to care for these consumers who, due to their medical illness, remain in the in-house day treatment program.
I think one of the things that people probably don't realize is how much a group home becomes a family.
Yes.
And that when we were talking about some of these issues of loss and the issues of bereavement, it's not only the person next to you in the house or your parent who might be passing away. It could be a staff member who is leaving. How does a program like this encompass all of these different types of loss, and how do you help people express and deal with the different types of holes that will be in their lives?
when the opportunity arises and we can take advantage of it, we like to do some preparatory work before that event happens and talk about what it might be like to not have this person either around because a staff person perhaps has moved on to a different job, or a parent is passing away, or a consumer in their home is passing away. And we try to do as much prep work, not only with the consumers, but with the staff, because like you said, this is family, and it's family to staff as well as it is to consumers. So it's a very mutual, emotional situation. And our training is to support the consumers as well as the staff, to help them recognize what a loss might mean to them as well, and to work through what life would be like. With the consumers, we try to find something that's relevant, if they've ever had a pet in their life, and what was it like when the pet died, and we try to, or a plant even, we get as basic as it takes to try and express the understanding that something will no longer be there. Someone will no longer be there.
Okay. One of the other issues that came up, I guess you had also spoken about the range of disciplines that came into this curriculum. You said that there was the Train the Trainers program included legal, psychological, and some other types of specialties. What did all of these different aspects add to that perspective on death and loss for people with developmental disabilities?
Well, the people who presented this training also wrote the curriculum, and it's a very extensive curriculum. There was a psychologist, PhD psychologist, who has worked with the developmentally disabled for MRDD for 25, 30 years, extremely experienced. There is a nurse who, also a PhD nurse, who is a professor of nursing. She's a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. She specializes in death and dying. There was an attorney, an attorney who explained everything about guardianship, trusts, planning, advance directives. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Yeah.
And then when we were personalizing it to our own agency, we took that curriculum and then modified it a little bit more to add a spiritual component, so that we could address the spiritual needs of our clients, of our consumers, and our staff. And on that panel, we had a minister, a priest, and our own staff Rabbi Pam Wax, to address what happens spiritually to when there is a loss like this in your life. Because lots of our consumers have come from families and homes and situations where spirituality and going to church or going to synagogue was a part of their life. And we need to keep that as part of how we address their needs.
I know you've had a couple of recent losses,
Yes,
and when people come back from, you've done some memorial services, and people come back from Bryant House and say that they can't believe the degree of spirituality and love. Tell us what goes into a service and the way that you feel you can memorialize and make an impact for those families and for the remaining consumers in your home.
Well, a loss of a consumer in the group home is like a loss of a family member. And we are very close-knit in the group home, and each consumer is treated as if though that person is a part of the staff member, it's a part of us. So when they pass away, what we do to help us bereave that consumer who has passed on is to memorialize them. And when we attend funeral, and at the end of that funeral service, it's not the end for us. We have to go back to the group home, and we have to get together, and we have to talk about this consumer, because after all, we have spent a lot of years sometimes with these consumers, and the burial is not the end for us. We have pictures that we sit down and we put albums together of that consumers, try to memorialize that consumer's life. and try to get other consumers to also respect the loss of that person. And the memorial service that we do have back at the house is a way of getting the consumers and the staff to show respect and appreciation for the person who has passed on. And so far, the family members have been very supportive, and you know, even if that person is a Jewish person, I mean, we still have memorial service at the house. We would bring in a rabbi. If that person is a Christian, we'll bring in a priest, that sort of thing, just to help us to deal with the bereavement of that consumer. And we all look forward to it, and you know, it's a personal thing for us, and we enjoy doing it.
Well, I have only heard from people who've attended when someone has passed on that it's something that stays with everybody.
Yes.
You mentioned families, and I think, Ellen, you probably had spoken about some of the challenges of working with families because they may treat their loved one with developmental disabilities differently. What are some of those issues and challenges?
Yeah, this is a very challenging area. Most families, all they want to do is protect and love their son or daughter, or whatever the relationship is. And many families believe, and I totally understand it, that they want to shield and protect the person with a developmental disability from things like loss, death, bereavement, funerals, rituals. They feel maybe they won't understand it, it's going to upset them too much, and so they try to keep it away and keep it as a secret. And what we're learning is that this isn't always the best thing, that really most people with special needs can understand what's going on. They do want to be part of it, and they can be at funerals, they can participate in rituals. And we're trying to work with families to help them understand that allowing them in is really okay. And if they are upset, that there are supports for them, and there are ways of helping them if they do get upset, which is normal if they get upset. So we work with families little by little to try to help them, educate them, and support them, and help them see that maybe this would be a good thing. The other aspect that we work with families on, and again, we need to do a lot more work in this area and a lot more education, is in advanced planning. We need to set things up with the way medical care is now. We all know it's complicated. Most of us have healthcare proxies. Some of us have other advanced directives. And really, the consumer should have that as well. If they have the capacity, they can appoint their own healthcare proxy if they don't have a legal guardian. And even if they can't do that, guardians and people involved in their life can make decisions and help them make decisions for what they might want. And you can get into all kinds of things. We can talk about DNRs, talk about tube feedings, talk about nutrition, hydration, all of those issues. And all these things, and funerals, and burials, and what do people want? And the more that this can be done in advance, the less chaotic it is when the time comes.
And the less stressful.
And the less stressful, and the less hard. So that we're little by little working with families as every consumer has at least 2 to 4 meetings per year that are just for them, that happen no matter what. I mean, certainly if something happens, you could have more meetings, but if everything's going smoothly in somebody's life, they will still have between 2 and 4 meetings every single year, just about them, all aspects of their life, with their family members, themselves present, and their whole clinical team, staff, all present at their meeting. And we use this time to help educate families to the importance of planning and doing as much as possible in advance so that we aren't at the mercy of some stranger who's going to make a decision
that may not be
what anybody wanted.
Right.
So just handling it in advance is really important. We have a lot more to do with families. We do. We're doing a wonderful job with our staff. We need to bring the families in more now.
Right. Well, certainly this is something that's cutting edge.
It is.
And bringing it to families is the next step.
It is.
This is not an issue only for older people, and I know, Heidi, I think you had said that you had several occasions to work with the young women at Hudson Terrace who are young women. You know, they're generally between 25 and 35.
That's right.
How did these issues arise for that kind of population?
These are young women who've had close attachments to grandparents, to aunts and uncles, to people that were very involved in their lives before they came to the residence. And experiencing a loss of one of these loved ones is equally impactful. It's and in some ways maybe even more so because they are younger and they haven't had life's experience to figure out how to deal with this. And there was a time where I think it was 2 or 3 of the residents, of the consumers, had that experience. So we were called in to support the staff as they supported the consumer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as anyone, the younger consumers are probably dealing with the deaths of grandparents and
Absolutely.
friends and everything that would be part of a life cycle.
Absolutely.
You are doing these programs for other agencies as well. Can you tell us how people get in touch with you and what type of services you're providing? We only have 2 more minutes, so let's talk about that.
We have done a course, 5 hours, for outside agencies, and it came about through referral with Heidi, actually, for bereavement counseling for an outside agency that had lost a consumer and had referred to Heidi to come in and do some bereavement counseling with their staff. We realized there was a great need, there is a great need, and everyone doesn't have the resources of WJCS. And so we developed, from the original curriculum, we just adapted it so that it would be a little shorter and kind of zone in on exactly what everyone needs to know to be able to handle these things in an appropriate way at their own agency. So we did it over 2 evenings, 2.5 hours each, and I will tell you that the evaluations and the feedback that we got from the 3 agencies that sent clinical staff was, it was excellent. They really felt that they got what they needed. They were very pleased. We put a whole resource manual together, which we give them as a parting gift, and
is this,
they appreciated it.
Are the outside agencies paying for these services?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if they want to access that, let's just tell people how they would get in touch, who they should get in touch with.
They can call either Ellen or myself. I'm at 949-7699, extension 308. And if I'm not there, leave a message. I'll be happy to get back to you.
Okay, and Ellen?
And you can call me as well. And I check my voicemail quite a lot, so I'll call you back if I don't pick up. And the number is 914-761-0600. My extension is 125. And if you forget that, you can always just ask for me. And
Okay, so Ellen Laminoff and Heidi Weiss, thank you for putting together this amazing program. I think you are really filling a tremendous need. And Josephine, we know what kind of care goes in Bryant House, and working together, you can only prepare people for the eventualities ahead with the best of compassion and care. I thank you all.
Thank you, Dale.
Stay tuned for our next half. We'll be talking about some ways in which people with developmental disabilities are reaching out to their neighbors. Welcome back to the Ways We Care of Westchester Jewish Community Services. I'm Dale Wang, Director of Community Relations. WJCS is funded by government grants, private foundations, individuals, and corporations, UJA Federation, and United Way. We are talking tonight about exciting and positive changes that have occurred in recent years in the lives of people with developmental disabilities. For many of these individuals today, their daily routine is much like that of most other people. They handle household chores, work or attend skills training programs, and they engage in varied social and recreational activities. With the support of caring and encouraging staff members, people with mental retardation or developmental disabilities who live in community residences run by WJCS and other voluntary agencies live full and active lives which they share with their peers and other members of the community. WJCS operates group homes in which nearly 90 people reside. Over the past few years, through a process we call think tanks, representatives of divisions across our agency, clinical services, programs for seniors, programs for children, Jewish programs, and home care services have met together to cross-pollinate ideas and expertise. As a result, some innovative programming and opportunities have developed. In the first half of this program, we discussed how bereavement and end-of-life care issues were being adapted to meet the needs of people with developmental disabilities, those who care for them, and their family members. In this segment, we are going to see how some of our consumers use their abilities to help others who are in need. I'd like to introduce to you our participants in this half. Walter Whitwer, who is our Director of Clinical Services for Community Residential Care.
Hi, Dale.
Welcome, Walter.
Thank you.
Warren Brodsky, who is a resident of Cannon House. Welcome, Warren. Thank you for joining us. Rodney Campbell, who is the Residence Manager at Cannon House.
Thank you.
Welcome, Rodney. And Chris Kost, who is also a resident at Cannon House. Welcome, Chris. Walter, I gave a little bit of a background, but can you tell people who are not familiar with WJCS and community residential care a little bit about what the community care setup is and our group homes system?
Okay. We have various sizes and group homes that operate in a lot of different ways. They range in size from 2 people up to 12. And they range in people, 2 people who live in an apartment who are practically on their own. They have staff come in to help them with some of the more difficult things, such as budgeting and things like that. 2 people, as you previously talked with Josephine, where people need a lot of care, and whether it's medical or just in terms of learning. We work with people who are profoundly retarded to people who have borderline intelligence. We have all ages, as was already mentioned, from the 20s up to 90. And some houses have single sex, some are co-ed, so there's quite a bit of mixture in terms of the people who live in the homes. And what happens in the homes is pretty much the same thing that would happen in anybody else's homes. The difference is that there's somebody to help. So if it's a matter of learning how to, anything from very basic stuff like learning how to brush your teeth to something, as I said, maybe how to balance a checkbook, how to make a shopping list or something like that.
Okay. And these homes today, we have homes located from Mount Vernon all the way up to
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow and everywhere in between.
Right.
Mamaroneck, Harrison,
Yonkers,
all over the place. So we're really in a variety of communities. And people move into these homes from their family homes or from other institutions? How does that work?
Right. People in previous years, many people moved from institutions because we did come out of a system where many people were institutionalized. Now more and more it's people moving from their homes, sometimes young, and sometimes they've lived with their families until they aren't able to care for them anymore. So they might be in their 50s or 60s even when they finally make the big step to live more independently. So as I said, there's a variety of everything you can imagine involved.
Okay. Now you are the Director of Clinical Services. What does that mean? What kinds of clinical services are being provided in the homes that require your oversight?
We provide nursing, what's called habilitation. That's where we actually look at, make an assessment, what does the person need, what skills do they have, what needs do they have, and then we try to use those skills to improve the things that the person still needs to learn. We also have service coordination, which is somebody who acts as an advocate for the person, who makes sure, coordinates all the services the person gets, makes sure that their plan is kept active and up to date, and their plan may include, again, everything from the tasks that they're learning in the home, as well as what they're doing with their leisure time, coordinating visits with families and things like that. We also have nutritional services to make sure that we're eating as healthy as possible. And then other services that we may contract and get in are also, again, based on needs, psychological, psychiatric services, specialist services of some sort, speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. Those would be services that we would then either bring in or arrange to have done at a clinic.
Okay. Rodney, as the residence manager, can you tell us a little bit about the atmosphere at Cannon House? I know it's a group of men who are very engaging and friendly. Talk about what the day-to-day life is like there.
First of all, I must say that it's usually a very friendly, the surrounding is usually very friendly. The guys usually get up like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they start getting ready for their day program. But before they do this, they would also engage themselves in meal preparation, that's a breakfast. Each of them assist in some way in getting this done. All of our guys go to the program at the Westchester Arc. And from there, some of them will also go into the community and engage themselves in some kind of activity. Some of them earn some kind of income. We usually drop them off, staff from Cannon House, usually drop them off at the Westchester Arc, and we also pick them up. On returning in the evening, they engage themselves also in the house maintenance. They clean their rooms, dust, vacuum, straighten their clothes, etc. From then, it's dinner, and after that, there is usually some kind of community programs. There are different groups in the community, the Greenberg Town, Southeast Consortium, and the Pioneer Club. They have some kind of relationship with each of these groups. And throughout the week, they are at some kind of activity at one of these places. Actually, it's from Monday straight back to Saturday. There's always something, so they are usually very, very busy.
Busy, Rodney.
Well, now this home is in Eastchester. Warren, can you tell us a little bit? I know you had lived with your sister before you moved
yes.
in. Can you tell us a little bit about how you came to Cannon House and what your day is like, when a usual day for you?
Well, with the exception of myself, I'm the only one I'm the only one who's traveled, who's independent. So, like Ronnie says, I get up when everybody, during the week, when everybody comes down for breakfast. And and I go on there, like Ronnie said, when they're on the program.
So you're in a work program during the week?
Yes.
And what do you do?
Westchester Arc.
And what kind of work are you doing there?
I'm at 39, and it's prepping. They give you one box. They're like files, and they give you a whole box. You do one file at a time. You take the papers and you just make sure you take the staples and take the staples out.
So you're basically you're doing clerical work and
kind of.
I know we use WARC to do mailings for WJCS, so I really appreciate everything that you guys do. I've been at Cannon House when you've been voting on your recreational activities and what to do in the evenings and whatever. And I was very interested to hear about the shopping project that you got involved with. Walter, tell me how this project came about and what it actually involved. I know you have goals for the various consumers. How did this project of shopping for others fit into that and evolve as a project for Cannon House?
As you mentioned, we have what's called a think tank, and it's really just trying to get together. And you know, when you're spread out all over the county, sometimes you don't see each other, you don't talk to each other, and you can even lose track of what everybody does. And this was an opportunity to get together and talk and talk about what's important, what we're trying to accomplish. And so it was in this kind of a meeting that one of the individuals who was at the meeting was Judy Fink, who's the director of the geriatric services. And we were talking about how can we connect, you know, maybe we could do something intergenerationally or some other way work with each other. And one of their needs was that some of the people that they work with, obviously the elderly and senior citizens who live in the community, and sometimes whether it's because of a medical issue or just getting old and not being able to get out and about as much. I mean, shopping involves you know, carrying bags and that kind of thing. We got to talking about, well, maybe we can help in that way. I mean, one of the things we're learning, and one of the guys or women are learning, is how to shop, how to make a nutritional meal, how to make a shopping list, how to do the actual shopping and going from aisle to aisle. There's money involved, so why not combine the two? And as we got talking, we got a little excited about it because it also it gives the opportunity for people to learn volunteerism. I think we maybe take that for granted, but it's something that if you're never given the opportunity to do something for others, you know, how do you know? So we thought this would be a great way for some of the consumers in the homes to start learning volunteerism, to help in the community. I mean, I think there's a tendency to look at people with handicaps as needing things. And this gives an opportunity to show, well, that may be true, but everybody needs something, and maybe we can help each other. And these guys are part of helping this elderly couple in Mount Vernon do something that they have difficulty doing. And in the meantime, they're learning all those skills that I just mentioned. And they're learning how to give up something, because instead of just go, you know, having a good time all the time, you do have to give up something now. And these guys have been willing to, as well as a couple other guys, willing to give up a little piece of their, you know, leisure life to go help somebody else. And I think it's, on a lot of levels, it's really useful. It gives people the opportunity to interact with each other. Sometimes we can go on our merry ways, and we never really interact with somebody with a handicap. So it gives them the opportunity, and gives these guys an opportunity to interact with people in a normal setting in their home. So you learn a little bit, you get a little bit of help with social skills. It's a little bit of a community education, because people are learning about people with mental retardation, because sometimes I think we have a little myth or not quite sure what does that mean. So there's a lot of ways that, I want to stop rambling, but I do get excited about it, because there's a lot of ways that this is useful for everybody. It's a win-win-win-win situation.
Right.
So.
Now in February, one of the reporters for the Journal News followed you around. Chris, What is involved for you in helping this couple, the DiGiulios, get their shopping done? What do you do for them?
No, we just go shop in the morning and pick up the groceries and give to the ladies. I'm the lady. We pick shopping and just drop them off and just give it the check. And
They leave a check for you for the
for the stuff we need.
uh-huh.
And
I understand that the couple is very happy to have you come visit.
that's right.
What happens when you get to their house?
Put the groceries away and just give them, and
You, they make cookies.
cookies.
That's
That's right.
The cookies. I heard about the cookies.
The cook.
Uh-huh.
And they pick up the groceries and give it to the people.
Uh-huh.
Shopping.
And it must be lonely for them to be home by themselves. When you come by, they must be very happy to see everyone
Yes,
come.
right.
Warren, how many of you do that shopping and actually deliver the food to the family?
Sometimes about four.
That's
Four.
what us,
Four.
4 of you go?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Four.
And do you sit with them for a while and talk when you drop off the items? Mm-hmm. So it probably is very nice for them to have visitors.
Yes.
Visitors. And see?
I would imagine. I know when Phil Reisman from the Journal News wrote this up, he was very taken by the relationship that had developed between the young men and this elderly couple. I think volunteering is one aspect of community involvement, but there are other things that you are also involved with in terms of the community, celebrating holidays, doing things. You have opportunities for people in the community to come in for your holiday celebrations.
Right.
Do you do that as well for during the December holidays? Open the home to the families and to other people in the community?
Not necessarily during December, but usually in August we usually have our barbecue.
Your barbecue?
Yeah, and the
Uh-huh.
families usually come along. They bring their friends and other family members there too.
That's what
And the guys usually look forward to this because they like engaging people in conversation. And when they see these strange people come around, they seize the opportunity to always do this.
Uh-huh.
For Christmas time, they usually invite other guys from other group homes into our house, and then they'd share whatever they have.
Right, right. Are you anticipating other opportunities? This is one group from Cannon, and they're doing a community service. Are you anticipating other types of relationships like this, where the men or people in some of our homes can engage in doing activities for others?
I would love to, and I do want to mention that we do have, we have made another connection where another home that's in Mount Vernon, at Gramerton, is shopping for a woman who lives in Yonkers. And we are trying to make other matches between the home and, people in a home and somebody in need. Because we've discovered that there's a lot more to it as well. It's not just as easy as, well, we'll pick up a shopping list and go. You have to see where people live. I mean, Rodney discovered that where the DiGiulios live, that they really, that the parking is a little bit not so close, and they have to, I guess you have to go up a couple.
It's like
four flights. So they had to buy one of those shopping carts. So you sort of have to see what else you might need just to make it run smoothly. And of course the distance and where the stores are, and you have to work out with the individuals, the senior citizen, because they might make a shopping list and they want a particular brand and you might not have the brand. So are there legitimate things you can substitute, or are they really brand specific?
Right.
So these are all things that they've learned, and I think that's helped to even make the community a little bit closer, because they've had to work together. It's not just picking up a list and going, even if there are cookies involved. But in terms of other kinds of opportunities, I would love to see that happen, because I think we really feel that people with, whether it's with mental retardation or any disability, have a lot to offer. And are willing to offer that. And I think that any way that we can make connections like that, we'll work with people, as we have. These guys have worked with this couple, and there's a lot of communication involved in terms of this week we don't need something. I mean, there's just a lot of opportunities to really make connections and really be part of the community.
Right.
And not just be a home in the community, but be a home as part of the community.
Right.
And really
And I
connect
know
together.
that you do have visitors that come to the house from local churches and synagogues, and that there's participating through the Havurah program in celebrations of various holidays. So there is a lot of community interaction. And
celebrations and parties, these guys are at every party.
You're always part of
They
it.
get invited to.
You always do.
do you guys use a local gym too? Are you involved
Then-
with any of the local
At
gyms? Because I know
local gyms,
the women at Hudson Terrace.
At one point, he was involved in one, but it closed, and then it just went down from that. So what we did, we got a treadmill inside of the house, and so they have been using that instead.
Good. So that's part of the nutrition and health and
That's right,
keeping
right.
fit.
Don't open and run
Right,
here.
right.
And we have other people who do volunteer who aren't part of a particular program. We
Yeah.
have people
Boy.
who volunteer at Food Patch. We have people, one individual who volunteers at a nursing home. So those kinds of things are happening and will continue to happen. And,
I think it's wonderful. I think we all need connections, and volunteering is certainly one way to be connected to other people who have different needs. Walter, let's just close with a little bit of a view to what's going on in the future in the Community Residential Care Division. I know that we have had a little bit of a respite from our Bon Air house, which we had to rebuild a couple of years ago, and we're looking forward to the reopening of that coming this spring, maybe?
yeah, that's what we're
Okay,
hoping.
we're
that will.
getting close to the end of spring, so maybe summer. And what else is on the horizon?
Well, we are in Mount Vernon. We are opening practically a new home, because the home where people were living, people have moved out, and through, for various reasons, we're sort of restructuring the program, and it will be 6 men who will be living in Mount Vernon. And 3 of them will be people who live in the community now with their families, who were then moving into this home, along with 3 people who already live with us. And then also, and this will be about the turn of the year, December, January, somewhere along. And then we also have another home opening in Harrison, which will also be 6 men. Again, this will be 3 people who are presently living with their families, who will be moving out for the first time, as well as 3 people living in one of our other homes, which we are making smaller. It's just, whenever we can do that, that's just a great idea. You know, they have a little bit, it makes it more intimate when we have smaller homes.
Right, and I think that the trend in the community is to smaller, more intimate, and homes where everyone can be involved with each other. I think we're running out of time, But I want to thank you all for what you're doing in the community. I thank you for your oversight of our clinical services. And Warren and Chris, I want to thank you for being helpers to people who are in need. And I'm sure that they appreciate what you do, and I'm sure after people see this, they'll probably be calling and hoping that someone will be working for them. And Rodney, thank you for helping these young men to have the sense that they are out there in the community and part of the community and doing for others as others have done for them. So thank you very much. If people want more information about WJCS and the Community Residential Care Division, they can call us at 761-0600, extension 108. And thank you again. Good night.
Good night.